Hello everyone. So in today's physics class, we learn about the next section of vectors that's called cross product. In the last class, we learned something about dot product. So today it's the other part that we're going to learn, that is the other form of product, and it's called cross product. Now what actually is cross product? So when we represent cross product, we represent it as A cross B. Of course, we have to represent this also. That is, it's a vector A bar cross B bar. But then what exactly is cross product? Let us try and understand it in a very simple way. Let's say this is the plane of the board. And there are two vectors in the plane of the board. Let's consider this as y and x. So one vector is B and one vector is A. Now when I write A cross B, let's say there is some angle theta between the two. And now if you have to find A cross B, what we have to do is we have to curl our fingers from A to B. We have to curl our fingers from A to B. So the rule is curl the fingers of right hand from A to B. That is the concept. So this is called right hand thumb rule. So when we curl our fingers from A to B, you can clearly see that the thumb points outwards. That means the thumb is coming out of the board. So when we do A cross B, thumb points out. That means what we can say is, if this is considered as z-axis, positive z-axis, then A cross B gives us a vector which is pointing along z-axis. So one conclusion we can make is A cross B is a vector along z-axis pointing outwards. And second conclusion is vector is perpendicular to A and B at the same time. Now we'll try out something different. Let's try out B cross A. What do you think? Will B cross A and A cross be the same? Let us give it a shot. So now if I am saying B cross A, we have to curl our fingers from B to A. So last time we had done it from A to B. That is, we had done this. Now what we'll do is, we'll curl our fingers from B to A. That is, you can clearly see that my thumb is pointing inwards. And I'm curling my fingers from B to A. B to A. If I do that, then the thumb will point inwards. Which means that this vector is pointing in the negative z-axis direction. B cross A is a vector which points inside the board or minus z-axis. Again, this is a vector which is perpendicular to B and A at the same time because it is in a way perpendicular to the plane. So now one thing is for sure, that A cross B and B cross A will have the same magnitude, but their directions will be different because A cross B points outwards whereas B cross A points inwards. That is what the cross product is all about. In scalar product, we learned that A dot B or B dot A is the same thing because finally it gives us the same number. However, when we come to the cross product, A cross B gives us a vector which is pointing outwards and B cross A gives us a vector which is pointing inwards. Now mind you, when I talk about A cross B and B cross A, it is strictly related to this example only. Now we'll solve more examples and find out how to actually find this vector. First of all, we'll define this A cross B. Now when we speak about A cross B, output of A cross B is a vector. This is the first important point. A cross B is a vector which is perpendicular to A and B at same time. The third point is A cross B. If you want to find out the value of this vector, then it is going to be magnitude of A, magnitude of B, sine theta. So last time, as far as the dot product is concerned, it was cos theta. Now it is sine theta into some n cap. So this n cap is a vector, is a unit vector in that particular direction. For example, when I say that A cross B, then this n cap would be pointing outwards. Or if I say B cross A, in the last case, it would be pointing inwards. So basically, this expression gives us the magnitude, and this expression gives us the direction. One other thing that we can say is A cross B is equal to minus of B cross A. Now we know that A cross B is a vector pointing outwards, and we know that B cross A points inwards. So this is the negative of the other vector. That is what we can say. Now when it comes to I cap and J cap and K cap, let us see how this varies. So this is the coordinate system. Let's say this is the vector I cap, this is J cap, that means this is the y axis, and this is K cap. Now when I say I cross J, it means that we have to curl our fingers from I to J. So let's first consider I cross J. So I cross J, when I curl my fingers from I cross J, the thumb points outwards. That means it is coming along z axis, positive z axis. So we can write it as K cap. If it is J cross I, then it points inwards. That is, we can say that it is along minus z axis. Let's consider the case of I cross K. So I'll slightly change the diagram now, and now what we'll do is we'll take this out and I'll write this as, this is y axis. Now for my reference, I can consider any axis in any particular direction. The point here is to understand the cross product. So this is y and this is z, this is j and this is k. That means the axis that is pointing out of the board is x axis. So when we say j cross k, my thumb points out, and k cross j means the thumb points in. The direction of the thumb gives us the vector. So j cross k means I, and k cross j would give us just the opposite, that is minus I. Now you can see a certain symmetry between this, and we can say that the third one, that is k cross I, would be j, and I cross k would be minus j. Now this combination can be easily remembered with the help of a rule. Let's study that rule. So if we draw like this, I, J, K in this manner, and we go in the clockwise direction, then you can see that I cross J will give us K, J cross K will give us I, and K cross I will give us J. However, if you go in the other way round, or if you go in the other direction, let's say we do J cross K, then it will give us minus K. So this is against the arrow, so it's going to be minus K. However, conceptually, you have to remember why it comes as negative. This is the order that will help you remember any of the particular combinations. Let's say you get something like I cross K. If it is I cross K, then you can clearly see that it's going to be minus J, because K cross I was J. So I cross K, that is the reverse, will give us minus J. But in case you get something like this, that is I cross minus K, you know that I cross K would give you minus J, but there is a negative sign over here. So that would make it positive. So this clockwise system will help you remember all these possible combinations. Let's take one more example, like minus J cross I. Now you can clearly see that I cross J would give me K, but J cross I would give me minus K. But here there is a minus sign. So let's take that minus sign out, and now we'll write J cross I. So you can see that J cross I would give you minus K. But because this negative sign is there, minus and minus cancels, and we get K cap. So this is how we can deal with the cross product. What if I say I cross I? Let us see that combination as well. So when I say I cross I, it means that it's going to be magnitude of I into magnitude of I sine 0, because I and I would be in the same direction. So sine 0 would give us 0. Hence I cross I would be 0. And similar would be the result for J cross J and K cross K. So now we see how to actually apply this cross product rule. We have been told that a vector, we have to find a vector which is perpendicular to A and B at the same time. So it can be A cross B as well as B cross A, because it's not been specified whether we have to find A cross B or B cross A. So let us take let us specify it as A cross B. So A cross B is a vector which is perpendicular to A and B at the same time. So now how to find A cross B? That is the question. If you have to find A cross B, then what we have to do is, we have to draw this box. This box is called determinant. So there is a particular way of solving it. In detail, you will study about these determinants in class 12th. But for now, one has to know how to evaluate this particular determinant. So now we have to set this up in this particular determinant, and this method is absolutely easy. All that we have to do is just write I, J, K first, and then we have to write 2, 3, 1, and the second one is going to be 1, minus 1 and 1. Now what we will do is, we will write this in and we will evaluate this. The first thing that we are going to evaluate is I. Now when we write I, we have to consider the other two columns, that is J and K, and we have to cross multiply this. So it's going to be 3 into 1, that is this 3 into this 1, minus this minus 1 into 1. So this is the first part. Then we have to take this J as minus J. We cannot just take it as J, we have to take it as minus J. That's the rule of determinant. And now we will multiply the I column and k column, leaving apart the j column. So it's going to be 2 into 1 minus 1 into 1. This is what it is going to be. And the last one is to be written as positive. Only the middle term has to be written as minus. So in the last one, when we multiply k, or when we find out a k part, we'll have to leave the k part and consider the other two columns, just like we did in the other two cases. So it's going to be 2 into minus 1 minus 3 into 1. So this is going to be 2 into minus 1 minus 3 into 1. Now let us simplify this and see what we get. So this is going to be like 3 plus 1, that is 4i, 4i cap. Let's put the caps also. And this is going to be 2 minus 1, that is minus j cap. This is going to be minus 2 minus 3, that is minus 5 k cap. So this is the vector A cross B. Now if somebody asks you what is the magnitude of this vector, then it is very easy. All that you have to do is, you just have to find the magnitude of this, that is 4 square plus 1 square plus 5 square. That would give you 25 plus 16, that is 41, and this is root 42. That is the magnitude of this vector. And now we are in a position to find out unit vector of this vector. So let's say this vector is some p bar. So unit vector p cap would be p bar by its magnitude. So that would be 4i cap minus j cap minus 5k cap divided by root 42. So this gives us the unit vector in the direction of this particular vector, because even this will have some direction. Now in this particular case, we have found out the value of A cross B, which is a vector. But if someone asks you, we don't want A cross B, we want a value of A cross B cross A. We want a value of B cross A. So we just studied in the properties that A cross B is minus of B cross A, which will also hold other way around. So this would give us, just attaching a minus sign to this would give us B cross A. Because if A cross B is a vector pointing inwards, then B cross A would be vector pointing outwards. So this would give us B cross A. So all that we have done is attached a negative sign to this. Let's take some more examples now and try to understand how to find the cross product. So if you see the first example, it is I cross minus k. Let's again use this rule of clockwise multiplication. So this is what we can see. Now we are dealing with I cross k. Let's take the minus sign out first and let's multiply 6 and 4. So all that we have inside is I cross k. Now I cross k, k cross I would give us j, but now we are dealing with I cross k, that is reverse. So we will get minus j. So that would give us 24 j cap, because this minus minus would become plus ultimately. So this is first one. Second one would be 3j cross minus 4j. Now j is in this direction, let's say, and minus j is exactly opposite. The angle between them is pi or 180 degrees, and we know that sine theta, that is sine 180, will come into picture. Now sine of 180 is 0, so obviously since that is the case, we will get the answer as 0. The third one is about j cross k. So now it is quite straightforward. J cross k would give us I. J cross k would give us I. So 6 I cap would be the answer to the third problem. Now again there is another problem, part 2. Let us solve that also. So that problem says 2a cross 3b. So we have to multiply 2a cross minus 3b. So 2a would be 2 into this vector, that is 2 I cap minus j cap, cross minus 3 into b, that is j cross j plus k. Let's multiply that also. So ultimately this vector comes out like 4 I cap minus 2 j cap cross minus 3 j cap minus 3 k cap. This is what we get. Now in this case we have to multiply, if you have to multiply two vectors, then we can also use the determinant rule as well. So the first method that we'll use is the straightforward method, which you can use any time, that is a normal multiplication method, and the second shorter method is the determinant method. We'll find the answer by both the methods. So let's first apply the shorter method, that is 4i. The first one will be 4i into minus 3j. So that would give us minus 12 into I cross j. I cross j would be k. So that is what we have to remember. I cross j would give us k. So that would be k. The next one would be 4i into minus 3j, k. That would give us minus 12 again, and I cross k. So I cross k would give us minus j. The next one would be minus 2j into minus 3j. That would be 0, because both are in the same direction, j and j. And the last one would be minus 2j into minus 3k. So j cross k would be again I. So that would give us 6 j cross k, that is I. So finally we'll end up with a vector like 6 I cap plus 12 j cap minus 12 k cap. Let us see if we get the same answer by the determinant method, which is slightly easier. So again we'll draw the determinant I, j and k. The first vector was 4n minus 2, and there is no component of k. So we'll take it as 0. 4 minus 2n 0. And in the second one there is no I component. However, there is some j component and k component, that is minus 3 and minus 3. So now all that we have to do is evaluate this determinant. So that would give us I times this into this. So that would give us 6. So the first term is coming as it is. Minus j cap, this would be 4 into minus 3, that's minus 12, and this is 0. And the last one would be k cap into minus 12. So now you can see for yourself that you are getting the same answer in one shot, that is 6 I cap plus 12 j cap minus 12 k cap. We get the same answer, but in a shorter span. So now you can decide for yourself which method you want to apply. I am sure it would be the determinant method. Now what are the applications of this dot product and cross product in physics? That is the question. So now we have learned the tools, now comes the time of applications. So in physics we define work done as a scalar. So work done is F dot S. That means that, let us say there is a force acting along x-axis, and it is given as 6 I cap newtons, because force is a vector and displacement in this direction, let us say, is given as 2 I cap meters. So this displacement is due to this force. Now we have to find the work done in this case. So all that we have to do is 6 I cap dot 2 I cap would give us 12 joules. So that is the work done in this case. So often when you have to find a dot product and we have to find a calculation of 4 work done, so all that we have to do is just find F dot S. As far as the cross product is concerned, initially while learning about units and dimensions, we had learnt about a quantity called as torque. What is torque? The definition is wherever any rotation happens in any particular situation, whenever there is any rotation, torque comes into picture. That is, I had given you an example of a nut and a spanner. Let us say this is the spanner and this is a nut that has to be rotated. So what we do is, what the mechanics does is just put a force over here, that is he has to put force like this or in the top direction to rotate this. So as a result of this, this rotation happens and the nut either gets tightened up or gets loosened up. Now this radius is to be considered. So force into this distance, this will give us torque. So that is given as torque is equal to R cross F. So in this case, torque is R cross F. If there is clockwise torque, then this would get loosened up. If there is anti-clockwise torque, then it would get tightened up. So now you see, this direction has some significance. Now the direction of torque, if it is this, then this will get tightened up. And if it's the other way around, the opposite thing will happen. So what I want to tell you from this is the vector product or the cross product gives us some direction, and this is how we can relate physical quantities to the mathematical results that we have just derived. Let's take an example. So for that matter, we have taken one example already, that is how to find the determinant of this particular cross product. Let us say this R is given as 2 I cap and the force is given as 4 j cap. So we know that I cross j would be k. So the answer would be 8 k cap Newton meter. That would be the torque acting in this particular case. Let us take one more example and try to understand work and torque concepts. So in the first case, it's told to us that there is a certain body and force of 3 I cap plus 4 j cap is applied on it, which causes a displacement of so much. We have to find the work done in that case. So work done would be F dot S. So F dot S would be 3 I cap plus 4 j cap dot 3 I cap plus 4 j cap. Now when we multiply this, we will get 3I dot 3I, that is 9, and 4j dot 4j, that is 16, which means that the work done will be 25 joules in the first case. Let's also see how much is the torque acting in the problem number 2. Let's again do the determinant part so that the concept of determinant is quite clear. So all that we have to do is, it's going to be R cross F. Mind you, when you are finding the torque, it's always R cross F and not F cross R. So R cross F would give us the torque, which is IJK. So first we take the R part, that is 3, 2 and 3. And then it would be 2 minus 3 and 4. Now when we do this, I cap would be 8 minus of minus 9 minus j, 4 3s are 12 minus 6, and the last part k cap would be minus 9 minus 4. This is what we'll get, which means that this would be 17 I cap, this would be minus 6 j cap, and this would be minus 13 k cap. Vectorially, this would be the torque. But if someone asks you what is the magnitude of torque, then I am quite sure now you are in a position to find out vector of this magnitude. So that would be 17 square plus 6 square plus 13 square. A very important mathematical application of vectors, that is a cross product, is area of parallelogram. Let us say the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram are A bar and B bar as shown in the figure. And let's say that there is some angle between them, theta, doesn't matter. Now what we want is, we want the area of the parallelogram. So the definition of cross product, that is, if we find A cross B, then the magnitude of this A cross B gives us the area of parallelogram. Let us see how. Let's take one example for this to understand. So one vector is 2, 4, minus 6 and 1 and 2. 2, 4 and minus 6 and 1 and 2. So these are the vectors, and this is the second vector. So this is A bar and this is B bar. Now we have to find the area of parallelogram. If you have to do that, then all that we have to do now is just find the determinant. So I, j, k would give us 2, 4 and minus 6. This would give us 1, 0 and 2. So this is the cross product. Let's find the cross product first. I into 4 minus of minus 6. Next one would be j times 4 minus 0. And the third one would be k times 0 minus 4. This is what we will get. So ultimately this drops down to 10 I cap minus 4 j cap, and this would be minus 4 k cap. This is the vector in this particular case. So now we have to find the magnitude of this vector. Magnitude of this vector would be root over of 10 square plus 4 square plus 4 square. That would be 100 plus 16 plus 16. That is root of 132. The area of this parallelogram is root 132 square units. Now this roughly comes to around 13.4 units. There is a slight error here in this part. That is going to be 4 to the 8. So this has to be 8, and this would be 0. Because 4 to the 8 and this would be 0. The second one would be like 2 to the 4. We will rewrite the expression. So the expression will look like I times 8 minus 0 minus j times 4 minus 6, and the last one would be like 0 minus 4, that is k times minus 4. So 8 I cap plus 10 minus 10 j cap plus 4 k cap. So this would be like 8 square plus 10 square plus 4 square. That would give us 164 plus 16, that would be 180. So roughly that would be 13.4 square units. This is the area. Let's solve a question, a general question based on dot product and cross product. So now we have been given that magnitude of A cross B is equal to root 3 times A dot B. Now what is magnitude of A cross B? Magnitude of A cross B is nothing but mod A mod B sin theta. That is magnitude of A, magnitude of B sin theta. This is what magnitude of A cross B means. And A dot B, as we know, is obviously defined as magnitude of A, magnitude of B cos theta. So let us do this and see what do we get. So mod of A cross B is this, and this is root 3 times the dot product. So you can see that these two parts and these two parts go, and thus we get an equation like tan theta is equal to root 3. Now when does tan theta is equal to root 3? When does this happen? It happens when theta is 60 degrees. So now we get to know that angle between the two vectors is 60 degrees, and only when angle is between the vectors is 60 degrees, that condition is satisfied. So now ultimately we have to find this. So now by definition we know that mod of A plus B is root over of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. This is what we know. Now if we apply the condition, we will get something like A square plus B square plus 2AB cos 60, because we know that the angle is 60 degrees. So cos 60. So we will get the answer as A square plus B square plus AB, because cos 60 is half. This 2 and this 2 will cancel, and thus we get the magnitude of this is this. So A is the right answer. Here another question. In this, it's given to us that the two vectors are perpendicular, and if they are perpendicular, find the value of A. So yesterday we learned that P bar, if it is perpendicular to Q bar, then the angle between them would be 90, and we'll get something like mod P mod Q cos of 90. That would be their dot product. Means this would be 0, because cos 90 is 0. So obvious conclusion is that when two vectors are perpendicular, then their dot product is 0. This is one thing that is very important, and many a times questions are asked on this. So let us apply that and see what we get, what values of A we get. It's going to be AI cap plus AJ cap plus 3K cap dot AI cap minus 2J cap minus K cap. This is going to be 0. So as we learned in the dot product class, I is going to multiply with I, J with J, and K with K. Let us do that and see. So A square minus 2A minus 3, this is going to be 0. Now when we factorize this, we will get A square minus 3A plus A minus 3 is equal to 0, which means that A into A minus 3 plus 1 into A minus 3 is equal to 0. And ultimately we get two values, A is equal to minus 1 and 3. Now this we consider as objective question, then 3 is the direct answer of course. But then how about minus 1? Let's check that also, because sometimes a question can be asked with a multiple choice wherein even minus 1 is one of the options. Let us check. So if I put minus 1, the vectors would look like this. So if we find a dot product now, it would be 1 minus 2 minus 3. So now you can clearly see that if we put a as minus 1 over here, then minus 1 and this is plus 3 and this is minus 1 minus 2, of course this is minus 2, sorry, and this is minus 1. So now when you find a dot product, this will be 1, this would be 2, and again this would be minus 3. So obviously the product is 0, so even this is valid. But if since the option is not given, only 3 holds true. The two vectors are given, a and b. We have to find a product, cross product of a bar plus b bar and a bar minus b bar. The first thing we'll do is we'll just get the things multiplied over here. That is, first would be a cross a. Second one would be minus of a cross b. Third one would be b cross a. Fourth one would be minus of b cross b. Now according to the rule of cross product, we know that if two vectors are in the same direction, that means they are either parallel or anti-parallel. So parallel is 0 degrees and anti-parallel means theta is 180 degrees. In either of the cases, the answer is going to be 0, because this is just like I cross I or j cross j. Now we'll have to look into this only. So if this is b cross a, we know that from our past knowledge, a cross b is minus of b cross a. So it means that we can write b cross a same as minus of a cross b. So this minus of a cross b we can substitute as b cross a. And ultimately when we add both of them, we get the answer as 2 times b cross a. So which of the options matches? The option A will match. That is the right answer. Let's take up another question. And now we have been given that there is one vector whose magnitude is 12, q is having the magnitude 5 and r is having the magnitude 13. So let's say this is p, this is q, and this exactly is r. Now this holds true because it's given that p plus q is r. So this is valid according to the triangle law. Now there is an obvious conclusion that if this is 12, if this is 5, this is 13, it means obviously the angle between p and q has to be 90. But then when we say angle, it means that we have to take this angle and not this angle, because these are the two rays originating from the same point, hence this is going to be the vector. But anyways, if we talk about the angle, even this angle is 90 geometrically, so the answer would be 90 anyways. But then how to prove it analytically? So we know that if we have p plus q is r, we can say that magnitude of p plus q is same as magnitude of r. This is what we can say. And magnitude of p plus q would be root over of p square plus q square plus 2 pq cos theta, where theta is the angle between p and q. Now if mod r is given to us as 13, let's write it as 13. This would be 12 square plus 5 square plus 12 as a 60, 60 to the 120, 120 cos theta. Now when we square this, we will get it as 13 square is equal to 12 square plus 5 square would give us 13 square plus 120 cos theta. So this goes, and thus we get 120 cos theta is 0, which means that cos theta is 0 and hence theta is 90. This is the way in which we can analytically prove that the angle between both of them is 0.